Today I'm sharing a workflow for precise image editing. For example, I draw a line here. This node can be drawn directly on top of the existing element. Then, so by using the prompt needed, a semi-transparent effect with lighting can be generated. The position was controlled very precisely with the lines I drew. I will give a brief introduction first, and then I will go into more detail later. Another example is this product. I want to draw some foam on these white lines. Eventually, foam can be generated. Moreover, the foam is generated precisely at this location. This makes image editing very precise. Then take a look at this one. This is different from the one over there. This uses color blocks, so I can directly draw a few simple color blocks on this node. Then use prompts to describe what each color block is filled with. Finally, you can easily generate this image. Moreover, the visuals are perfectly integrated. Furthermore, this can be divided into upper, middle, and lower layers. I'll explain how to use it in more detail later. First, a brief introduction. Then this is an example. I have an empty room here and I want to use it. Place the sofa and then specify a sofa. This method can be used to achieve very high precision. Place it on this color block. This achieves precise control in image editing. Otherwise, you can give it a picture to display. If you don't know where to put it, you might have to draw cards several more times. This way, the accuracy rate is basically 100%. This workflow uses color blocks to specify. The size of the space is used to place things. This part is used to generate special effects. You can understand the special effect as using white lines. Alternatively, draw a black line to define an area for generation. Today we will mainly introduce these two workflows. They are all accomplished using functional LoRA. First, let me introduce the IntBrain Cloud Online Mirror I'm using. Users prefer to deploy locally and use it immediately. I'm currently using an online mirror by clicking on my mirrors. Of course, this isn't the only workflow I have here. I have a complete workflow that includes the special effect editing. I'm the image editor for this 1000 questions section on the outermost page. If you update to the latest version here, this is what I look like now when I open it. These workflows are all part of my numerous workflows. These are the latest and most commonly used ones placed outside. There is a complete set of 2511 and 2509. There is also a complete workflow of 2500. Also draw image and LTX.3. The complete client editor for Flux2 is also here. Then it's divided into video, image, and video-related categories of some commonly used workflow video editing, etc. The image class contains over 300 image editing workflows. The voice category includes the usual voice changing features: song voice changing, voice cloning, audio generation, etc. Currently, the most commonly used one is Will, which is 2 points lower than CPM. This voice clone is currently the most powerful. The most powerful voice design today is Accompaniment 3. So this mirroring solution does the job in one go. Moreover, the advantage of mirrors is that the mirror address can be copied. You can open two pages at the same time by opening another page. This is also an advantage of online mirroring, which allows for multi-window operation. If you want to deploy locally, you can click on My Notes, Click on the ComfyUI tutorial in the navigation. It will jump to the bottom of the workflow location. It's partitioned the same way as in my mirror image. Video, image first. I've put this workflow inside the image class. The file name is exactly the same as the workflow name. Click on this 2511 to open. It contains all the model download nodes. The downloaded screenshots of the installation location are all clearly labeled. Sometimes you don't label a lot of downloaded content. You don't know which one to download. This makes it more convenient for everyone to use. The bottom one is also a screenshot of each workflow. There are also simple operation instructions marked on them. All parameters above can be clearly seen. Often, looking at thumbnails is enough. At the bottom are the video tutorials for each workflow. Add the final workflow download. This node is suitable for those using local deployments. I think everyone should just use it directly. My online mirror opens exactly the same as the one I'm using now. If you see that I can use it, then you can use it too. First, let's introduce the workflow of using lines to control image editing. The 2511 editing model of Qwen is here. Then I put this workflow in the first item of the second column. It only supports drawing white or black lines. Sometimes the image might be too dark, in which case you need to draw it with white lines. So let's start with the first step. This way, everyone can refer to the tutorial and edit it themselves. The first step is to load the image. Click to load the image and select the image you want to edit. When you click in, there's no underline, right? Therefore, the white line can be chosen for this location. This is a tool for drawing lines. A brush size of 5 is sufficient. Then you can draw on it. You can roughly draw a range. This is the area it will generate. Then the prompt here needs to have a trigger word. The main reason is to trigger a special effect, LoRA. I put the trigger word first when generating special effects. There are prompt word templates inside that you can use. If you don't understand, you can refer to this annotation. The preceding sentence is the same. Based on the approximate area of white or black in the drawn lines. The following can be written arbitrarily. The main thing is that the first sentence is the same. You can write whatever content is generated next. Finally, click Generate. The generated effect is perfect. It's like punching and shooting. The following operation is naturally the same. Upload a picture first. You can erase it if you're not satisfied with the drawing. Reload. Select the tool again and draw again. Add a region, for example, like this. we can just start one workflow at a time. Turn off the one you don't need. You can lock it by right-clicking on it. To unlock it, right-click in the background of this group. This part is very simple. It's the same as the previous part. Just copy it. The following code simply specifies what will be generated, and then what phone will be produced. You can then generate phone based on this area. So this involves drawing lines to control the generation, because sometimes it might not be appropriate to cover with color blocks. This prevents the subsequent content from being revealed during generation. Therefore, this is more suitable for making partial modifications, depending on the situation. This might not be a suitable place to put a sofa, because it cannot be placed on a sofa and the effect is extremely poor. Therefore, these two should be used together for this to be perfect. It generates this phone based on this area. Achieve image editing effects with high precision. Then move it over here, for example, to put the sofa. If the lines drawn here don't fit, you cannot understand the relationship with perspective. I will turn this perspective around. This is somewhat like a reference, so these two methods are different. If you draw the lines here, you can put the sofa in. If we peel it off and place it directly on top, which is not what we want at all. These two functions are different. Precise replacement of color blocks, such as changing the background or the sofa. This is useful for applications with perspective that require changing angles. Therefore, using these two together is perfect. For example, I will draw one specific, a color block in the sofa's perspective. It just generates it directly and covers it up. No prompt words are needed here. Just tell it the red area in the picture. Replace with the white sofa shown in Figure 2. It can then understand that the sofa is to be placed in this way. It wasn't just covered in. So this is one of the advantages of Qwen's image editing. However, it has drawbacks, such as the fact that I painted a block of color here. It doesn't know what the things behind look like. If this thing is translucent, this workflow is not suitable because you painted it. You have no idea what's behind it. If it's semi-transparent, then using lines to control it is more suitable. This doesn't require prompt words, but there are examples of its use. You can refer to the annotations. Apply the color blocks the same way as before. Making the brush thicker makes painting much easier. This way, you don't need to open Photoshop. The operation method is the same as before. For the red ones, just pay attention to the operation. The colored areas are the parts you are operating. The rest can be left as default, because I set everything to the optimal effect. This part is a bit complicated, except that drawing color blocks is the same. Let me demonstrate how to use it. Meet this first because only one program can run at a time. For example, if I want to draw a color block, it is layered. I don't want to use Photoshop. I want to finish it directly in the application first. Drawing color blocks or editing in upper, middle, and lower layers. These two nodes were used. It's actually very simple to operate. The first step is to drag the image in. Then, using automatic image cutout, for example, I want to cut out the woman in the middle. I wrote the prompt words in. Note that punctuation mark should also be added. It will automatically extract the woman from the picture. You can cut out whatever you want to cut out. I have already connected that to the default setting. Putting it down is the top layer, and putting it on the neck is the next layer. This is how the layered nodes merge two images into one. Here's a little trick. For example, mine is empty. It's empty at first, so you'll need to manually adjust the size. Connect this and run it briefly to make it display. If you know the size, you don't need to. Once it's displayed, you can stop. You don't need to continue generating. Once you see the dimensions, you can manually set the dimensions on the side. Only then will a background of normal size appear. The size will not change unless manually set. The size changes with a single click. Therefore, the first step is to manually set the size, because you'll be using it as a background and then drawing on top of it. When drawing, we usually use red, yellow, blue, green. This makes it easier to describe. For example, in this area, the brush strokes should be a bit larger. This color block represents the seabed. Red might be from the sand. A rough sketch is enough. It will then precisely control the position. If you don't get here, click Run. Don't run at all. Just pause it once you see it appear. This means the preview doesn't need to run the entire program, so you can pause and cancel. Now we have these two layers. Pay attention to the dimensions here. It must be within this green box. That is the size of the image. So you can manually adjust it to exceed the limit. Because the output is the content within the green box. This is equivalent to adjusting the placement and size in Photoshop, similar to layout editing. The final output should show the area within the green box. Once adjusted, it should be fine. The entire workflow has been completed. You need to write the prompt words carefully. For example, only the words written on the blue and red areas are. The preceding text describes the scene. For example, a woman running on the beach. Later, I will replace the red area in the image with the beach. Then replace blue with the ocean. This allows for precise replacement. This is quite precise. It replaces everything in one go. The characters and background blend together perfectly. You can complete this directly without using Photoshop for layered editing. You don't need Photoshop to cut out any image, just enter the prompt word. Complete all the precise editing and modification tasks. Therefore, using these two together is perfect. Of course, it also includes LoRA for generating e-commerce posters. You can generate a poster directly by providing a white background image. Of course, the text effects it adds aren't very good. Actually, you don't need to generate any text. That's all for this episode. Everyone go have fun.